Hope you're all well. How are we feeling today? Yesterday we were feeling great. How are we feeling today? Great still. I love it. That's awesome. So we're just going to take about 15 minutes or so to just get a sense of our understanding. We've talked a lot in the last day, 2 days, 2.5 days about innovation, commercialization, what are technology readiness levels, how are we doing, and what are our go-to market strategies as we look to commercialize the innovations we have at our institutions. So this is a really quick quiz. I know you are used to giving out the quizzes yourself. So today, the tables have turned. I saw this TikTok once for the turned have tables. Have you guys seen it? It's really funny. The turned have tables today. So for a lot of us, we are going to be taking the quiz. So it's going to be on Mentimeter. For those of you who have not used Mentimeter before, just go on any device, your laptop or your phone, just go to mentimeter.com. There is a QR code that's about to come. But if you go to Menti, I wish this. Okay, if you go to Menti, because I can barely see this, the code is 44668542. And then there's a QR code. If that's easier for you, can use your camera to just scan the QR code. Then please go to Menti. It's a really short quiz, I promise you. So go to menti.com. Is everybody there? Not yet? A minute? Yeah, so scan the QR code, or if you prefer, just go to menti.com on your device. And where at the top of Menti, where they'll ask you what code to use, it's 44668542. All right. So first question is, which word, so one word, right? Which word would you use to describe the innovation ecosystem at your institution? For this one, there's no wrong or right answer. It's your opinion. And of course, it's anonymous. So, what one word would you use to describe the innovation ecosystem at your institution? So, I'm already showing the results so that you can see. Everybody can be together and see what everybody else is saying. In progress, yes. Fragmented, it's growing. It's fantastic. I want to know the fantastic people. Bureaucratic, coming up, nascent, okay. So there's room for improvement. Let's see. Should be about 50 to 60 odd people here. So I'm looking for more responses. Kindergarten stage, wow. Diverse, coming up. Bureaucratic, wow. So which one word would you use to describe the innovation ecosystem at your institution? I'm waiting for more responses before I move on. If you're just joining us and you want to go on to Menti to participate in the quiz, just go to menti.com, use that code there, 44668542, or you're welcome to scan the QR code. Developing, beginning, absent, wow, emerging, the best. So this is really good. Poorly structured, disjointed, that is not so good. So you can see there's a whole mix. There's those who are beginning, there's those who are growing in progress, and there's some who are doing super, super well. That's awesome. Okay, let's go to the next question, please. All right. Which of the following best describes innovation in a university context? So, any of those? Is it a new scientific research published in journals? We've all heard of publish or perish. Is it the process of converting ideas and research into products, services, or processes that create value? Is it having advanced laboratory equipment? That's a pretty good one. Is it running entrepreneurship competitions? There's no option five. So it's just one of those four. Just answer this to the best of your knowledge. Yeah? So it looks like most of us have picked the process of converting ideas and research into products, services, and processes that create value. Awesome. Let's go to the next one. I don't know why this is highlighted. So, what is the main value of death in innovation? I don't know if you guys have heard about the terminology value of death. It's that very painful place for founders and innovators. So, what is the main value of death in innovation? Is it when students drop out of entrepreneurship programs? I think if I'm a lecturer, that's what I would choose. The gap between research funding and commercialization. Three is when a product is rejected by investors, also very painful. Or is it when intellectual property is filled but unused? What do you think? So most of us think it's a gap between research funding and commercialization, and that is quite true. But sometimes also, startups can get funding and they still enter value of death. So we need to figure out why. It can be a multiple or a complex combination of this. All right, next question, please. If you're just joining us and you would like to join to participate in this quiz on innovation and commercialization, please just go to menti.com and use the code that's at the screen there, at the top of the screen, or you can use the QR code that's on the side of the screens. Which of these is not part of an innovation ecosystem? Number one, universities. Number two, customers and industry partners. Number three, customers and industry partners. That's the same. Number four, laboratory equipment. So, laboratory equipment, that's right. Let's go to the next one. Which TRL does a prototype get tested in a relevant environment, e.g., outside the lab? So, this is indirect. It's about the technology readiness levels. So at which TRL is it 3 for proof of concept, 5 component validation in relevant environment, 6 prototype demonstration in relevant environment, or 9 actual system proven in operational environment? At which technology readiness level does a prototype get tested in a relevant environment? You can see you're filling it out. It's actually number 2, TRL 5. Now we've learned something. I know most of us have answered TRL 6. So by the time you're going there, you should already have tested your prototype. All right, next slide, please. Your university has developed a new water purification filter, tested in a lab and shown to work. What TRL is that? Which one? Is it TRL 3, experimental POC? Is it 4, lab validation of component subsystem? Is it 6, prototype demonstrated in relevant environment? Or is it 9, system proven in operational environment? Let's see what most of you think. Yep, I think the majority are getting it right on this one. Well done. It's lab validation of component stroke subsystem. All right, because you've tested it in the lab. And so now after this is now when you need to take it out. All right, next slide, please. So this is a true or false question. Once an innovation reaches TRL 9, it is automatically ready for market adoption. Kweli au sio kweli? True or false? Oh, wow, this is almost close call, very, wow, very close. Yeah, it can be a super duper perfect product, but it's not ready for market because you haven't tested it with customers, you've not done empathy maps, you don't actually know if the market is ready for the product or actually wants a product. So that's a false claim. All right, thank you. Next. Which of the following is the first step in go to market readiness? Step one, is it securing investor funding? Is it defining the customer problem and validating demand? Is it scaling manufacturing? Or is it creating marketing campaigns? Which one do you think is a fast, very fast step? Again, if you're joining us and you want to participate in the quiz, you're most welcome to. That's the Menti. Just go to menti.com. That's the code up there. Yes, 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 yes. It's definitely defining the customer problem and validating demand. That's a very fast step when you're going to market. All right, next slide. Okay, so your team has developed a mobile app and tested it with 10 students who say that they actually really like it. What is the next step? I don't know if you guys can see because of the chairs. One is pitching for investors' funding. The other one is filing a patent. 3 is expanding customer validation with a larger, diverse group. And 4 is building product features. This is a tricky one, I think. Let's see. Most of us seem to be thinking it's expanding customer validation. There's some who think it's filing a patent. It's actually filing a patent because you can go and expand your customer validation, and it's okay, but depending on the numbers you're going to, at this point, you might want to protect your innovation first before you spread out your wings. Okay, next one. Which of the following indicates high go-to-market readiness? So there is the innovation has a working prototype, but no target customer identified. The innovation has market validation, a clear business model, and early adopters engaged. The innovation has only received a research grant. And number 4, the innovation has strong technical results, but no market testing. Which of the following indicates high go-to-market readiness? Correct. The innovation has market validation and clear business model. And early adopters engaged. Perfect. Next slide, please. On a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you that your institution's innovation are both technically ready and commercially ready? So the go-to-market piece. It's supposed to be for commercialization. I don't know where some words have gone. All right, so not ready at all, very ready. So this is a scale. Let's see what most of us feel. So kind of at the 2.6 mark. Okay. So really just, so we are sort of kind of a little bit ready. All right, next slide. Okay, that's it. So thank you very much for participating in the quiz. It's given us a really good sense of where we are as institutions. I feel there's a bit of a mix. There's some good, some not so good, but we're ready to work on it, aren't we? Yes? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Asante sana, tunashukuru. So the next session is a debate, and I want us to be enthusiastic about this one because who doesn't like shots fired? So to help us moderate the fire is Sonia Rusungu, who is the Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Advisor in our Research to Commercialization program. So please, makofi ya Sonia tafadhali. So she will be inviting her debaters. She will tell us if they will pick their sides. I think I'm going to pick this side even before I know what they're talking about. I hope these sides win. And I know they also want to stand rather than sitting because it's a debate, right? Okay, let's find out. So, Sonia, over to you.
All right, thank you, George. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Mombasa as much as I am. Some warmth, especially for those of us who are in Nairobi. Welcome to what I hope will be an exciting debate, and I do hope you take sides. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the debaters as they come up on stage. First, Professor Laila Abubakar. She is a Kenyan biochemist and an academic leader, and she's the current vice chancellor at the Technical University of Mombasa. Next, Dr. George Eshiamwata, an environmental scientist from Egerton University and is currently the deputy director at the National Science Program of the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. Dr. Eshiamwata, karibuni, karibuni. All right, Dr. Milka Wambua, a food scientist and entrepreneur in the hospitality sector, a part-time lecturer at Egerton University, and is currently conducting research in food science with a focus on enhancing food security and nutrition through enhanced cassava-based products. Karibu. All right, and Professor Vincent Onywera, an academic in exercise and sports science, and is currently the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation, and Outreach at KCA University. So welcome, debaters. You have options. Would you like to sit or shall we stand and use the mic? All right. Please take your seats. Now, some context to this debate we are about to listen into. Over many years, but for me in the past 3 years on the R2C program, we've seen and heard of the strides made in higher education and research in pursuit of inclusivity. So more young people who join university, more young people involved in research, more women in leadership in university in positions in higher education, more people with disability, both being admitted but also in being part of faculty, being part of researchers who receive grants, and general expansion all right. All right, so the general expansion of university and higher education across the country. In the next 40 minutes, we'll debate and receive perspectives on the inclusivity disparities in our institutions and hear about it from the perspective around leadership, the pathways for growth, and particularly for those who are considered marginalized or vulnerable from those communities, hearing about the policies that are in place, how they are implemented. So the format this will take. Each debater will have 1.5 minutes to respond to the debate motion, which I'll share with you shortly. We'll have 2 rounds of those debates, and then we will also invite your participation as the audience. So there's a QR code that should go up just now that asks you of your own examples of inclusivity or the lack of it in our institutions, universities, and TVETs in Kenya. So just to prompt the QR code, please. Okay. So to begin, the debate motion, higher education institutions in Kenya are highly inclusive. And we'll begin with the proposers of the motion. So first, Dr. Milka Wambua. Hi, just go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, and our distinguished moderator and my fellow debaters, I'm here today to strongly propose the motion that higher education institutions in Kenya are highly inclusive. And maybe before I go to the institution, I want to applaud or to acknowledge the government of Kenya for ensuring that higher education is easily accessible. We have over 70 universities in Kenya, over 2,000 registered TVETs, both private and public, and also the financial access like the help and government sponsorship that ensures that higher education is not only for the few elite, but everyone has the access to higher education. When we come down to the institution, I believe there are policies and initiatives that ensure inclusivity in our higher education institution. For example, when I talk of Egerton University, we have an institute of gender, women, and development studies that train women or even train also the male to ensure there is gender inclusivity. And what has this done? It has made more women to enroll into higher education and also has made women to raise in leadership positions. Like our former VC was a woman, and I'm delighted that yesterday we even had the opportunity to listen from the Professor Margaret, VC of University of Nairobi, and today we had the chance to see even more women who are actually taking active leadership roles. And amazingly, our innovators, the four ladies, I was very keen to note that they are women out of one male. So for me, the issue of gender inclusivity is really active and we are living it today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As the timer goes off, you are spot on. The opposing debater, we'll begin with Professor Abubakar.
Thank you very much, our esteemed delegates who are here. Good afternoon. Is it already afternoon? As you've heard, I'm the Vice Chancellor of Technical University of Mombasa, and I take this motion very, very personally because as a Vice Chancellor, I am the first Vice Chancellor who is a female in the coastal region. And I'm the first professor, if not only a female professor in the coastal region. So you can just imagine, most of you are in the coast region, and you can imagine when you are having only one female professor and one female vice chancellor. We have 45 public universities and constituent colleges. Out of these, as of today, we have only 9 females vice chancellor. That translates to around 20%. So have we even met that threshold of 1/3? So I really feel that we still have a long way to go. I do agree that the government is trying to put policies in place, but sometimes, in most cases, those policies are just in paper. I come from a technical university, and I can actually see how the enrollment is skewed towards the male side, and especially in the STEM programs. When it comes to engineering programs, you find we have very, very few females that are taking up those programs. One of the things I did when I became the Vice Chancellor is to make sure that as part of my performance targets, I included the issue of increasing the number of females enrollment in STEM courses. So it was a deliberate attempt to do that. As
Motion and of proposers. Professor Onywera, yes.
Thank you very much. Salam alaikum. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Onywera. I'm the pioneer Deputy Vice Chancellor at KCA University. Right at the onset, I would like to respectfully persuade the opposers of this motion to cross over the floor because this summit is a classical example of how the higher education landscape is inclusive. From A to Z, we have seen industry players, we have seen development partners, we have seen TVETs, we have seen universities, we have seen our amazing students. And this is a classical example of how inclusive the higher education, the learning education ecosystem is inclusive. To add to that, our institutions are not cut from a tree. They exist within a framework, within robust systems, policies, procedures, guidelines, which help us to move this country from where it is towards a truly industrialized middle-income country that provides high quality of life in a safe. So I want to persuade the opposers of the motion. I know they are getting persuaded, and very soon they'll cross over. I also want to add, you have seen what our amazing students are doing from KCA University, from Riara, from Strathmore, from Kabarak University. And this is a product of an inclusive system that promotes equity, equality, inclusivity, and accessibility. So allow me to stop there, but yes, I support this motion. Thank you.
Shamwata.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to, of course, oppose this motion on the following grounds. Yes, in as much as we've made a lot of progress, we still have a long way to go. And it's because of this. One is because in as much as you have very many progressive and transformative policies that have been put in place, I think we've not been very good at implementing them. And maybe let me just mention a few. We have the Constitution of Kenya, which is, of course, a supreme law in the country. And it has a provision for equity. And if you look at several articles, Article 10, National Values and Principles of Governance, you look at Article 27, Equity in Representation and Governance, and there are several, even Article 100, all of them are making reference to how can we be able to have equality in the society that we live in, and perhaps now we are looking at higher education institutions. But when it comes to implementation, it's where the challenge is. Well, we may say that we have we have very many female vice chancellors, and when you talk about 9, it's just a drop in the ocean. We had the first female vice chancellor in 1997, and that is Professor Leah Marangu from a private university. We had the first female vice chancellor in the year 2006. And this is, of course, a well-known professor from KU. But have we really made good progress? If we were to look at the trends, is the trend and the trajectory that we are seeing what we expect? I was also just looking at data from TVETs, and I was looking at how many principals do we have that are male, and how many deputy principals do we have that are male, and of course vice versa. If you look at the statistics, you'll be surprised that if you're looking at TVETs, 68% of all principals are male, meaning that we're only remaining with 32 that are female. Of course, that one you can say we've achieved slightly a good gender balance in terms of 2/3. But if you look at deputy principals, you're also looking at 66% versus 34%, which are female. But can we drive or move towards parity, where we are giving equal opportunities to both male and female to be able to be leaders in our higher institutions of learning? But I think more importantly is that most of our women continue to face so many barriers. And some of these barriers are even in our institutions. Perhaps when you're looking at succession, how do we mend that? Because VCs are not
Dr.
born
Shimota, I'll
VCs.
cut your time, so just
Sorry.
finish the point. Go ahead and finish the point, and then.
So VCs are not born VCs. Deputy vice chancellors are not born vice chancellors. Directors are not born directors. How can we, as leaders of these institutions, mentor by appointing women into some of these positions so that they are able to grow along that chain to become the head of our institutions? So I think we also have to be able to manage our succession better, to promote equality, to promote inclusivity in our institutions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
All right, I'd like to go back to the proposers. Milka and Vincent, as moving away from just the question around women leaders, what about access to grants? What about pathways for growth? What about the visibility and the place of people with disabilities in these institutions? Are they inclusive in those issues and for people with disabilities? So, Milka.
We talk of people living with disability, there are policies, and most of the institutions in our higher learning have those very active policies that concern the people with disability. And I will give an example because of where I come from Egerton. We have a very active policy that actually supports people with disability. They are able to access classrooms. Actually, the current buildings that are in place, they are able to ensure that people with disability are able to access. We have actually a vehicle in the university that is set aside for people with disability to ensure that they can access classroom, they are able to reach in class in good time. We also encouraging the people with disability to attend, even to partake of extra curriculum activities. And also there are initiatives in the universities, like there is one called Tag Dev, that is transforming African agricultural institution to meaningfully contribute to development. And this one particularly supports women first. Actually, 70% of their scholars are women, which is a good thing. 10% of them should be people with disability, and 10 of them supposed to be refugees. So I believe there are already initiatives that are there that are supporting such groups. Thank you.
All right. To the opposers, how widespread is this for us to be able to say that that one example from Egerton is spread across the rest of the institutions, and therefore they are inclusive, that we are inclusive in Kenya?
I think that this is just one case. And perhaps let me also go to the fact that in all these institutions, you'll find they have gender mainstreaming policy, disability mainstreaming policy. But how good are we at implementing? How good are we at, documenting best practices that are happening at some of these institutions and sharing with other institutions so that they can be able to apply some of them in the institutions?
That speaks to the strategic partnerships and collaborations which the head of public service talked about, PS Shaukat talked about, and many speakers here, that we have to enter into strategic partnerships and collaborations. There are so many institutions that have policies, for example, that take care of students and staff with disabilities. They are implementing these policies right from the gate to the office of the Vice Chancellor. And what we are encouraging ourselves is that when you see this person, don't look at the disability. You look at this person as a wonderfully made individual with abilities that can take them where they want to go to. I also want to comment on the issue of female vice chancellors, and I respect them very much. Whenever I see Professor Laila here, or Professor Akuno, Professor Hutchinson, Professor Obudo, I don't see a female vice chancellor. I see a vice chancellor. I see a vice chancellor. So this issue of saying, so and so is a female vice chancellor, we have to recalibrate our thinking and see that leader on that seat, because they are wonderfully made, they are excellent, they are capable, and they are our leaders.
Yeah, Laila. I am so tempted to get into this debate, and I have to work very hard.
Well, I agree that when you see and not a female vice chancellor, but I still believe that there is in our constitution, the reason we have been having it in our constitution about the 2/3 rule, it's to safeguard the gender issues. But again, they say what a man can do, the woman can do better. So I still feel we still need to have more of these people. And I'm not talking of just being a vice chancellor. I'm talking about the leadership, the issues of leadership. And I believe that we still have to have more of those to reduce this gender disparity. Let me talk about the disability. Yes, you mentioned that in some places they have put on some strides, but I want to ask us here as we sit, how many institutions are able to, first of all, let's even talk about the service charter. How accessible is it to the people who have disabilities? Our own service charters in our institutions. Then again, we come to the issue of student enrollments. You find that there are a number of students who have disabilities. They don't have that access because it's not that the institutions don't want, but they do not have those facilities to cater for those students with disability. Because like in my institution, we had to hire and we had also to train our own staff on sign language to allow students who have problems with hearing impairment to be able to access university education. So those are the challenges which are there. Yes, there could be disability mainstreaming committees, disability policies, but I repeat, the implementation is the problem. Implementation of those policies becomes a problem. So I still feel, even our websites, very few websites you'll find that they are user-friendly for people who have disability problems. So those are some of the things which anybody should be able to have access. If you want to know about an institution, for example, or you want to apply for a job, and there's a recruitment portal there, and you are not even able to access that website, for example, and be able to, so those are some of the challenges we are having. And even when it comes to the staff recruitment, we still have a long way to go. So I still believe that we do have, yes, the government has put on policies, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, please put up the results that have come on Mentimeter. And for the proposers, one of the things that are mentioned by the audience is that there are fewer women in STEM. So in the argument for this motion that there is inclusivity, what are some of the things that demonstrate that there are few women, but there are women getting into STEM? What are some of the things that are encouraging their enterprise, their innovation, their access to funding for the women that are in STEM?
Okay. I don't know, there are few women in STEM compared to which standard? Because STEM has to exist in a context. STEM has to exist in a society. And that's why, for us at KCA University, and we have demonstrated it here, you have heard it from our students, we encourage students to pursue a course or program that meets their aspirations, that meets what they want to do, that they enjoy, where they will excel. Blackberry, the innovator of Blackberry, did not do STEM. He was actually doing sociology at the University of Waterloo in Canada. So let us not put the learner in a straitjacket. Let us allow them to grow and mature so that they can unleash their full potential.
All right.
Thank you.
Any response?
I think for me, if you look at the World Economic Forum report, and of course we also have the UNESCO Science report, the most common denominator there is we have fewer women in STEM. But these reports also tell us that the future of the job market is STEM. And if the future of the job market is STEM, then we also have to ensure that women are taking equal opportunities in this future. And so there's therefore need for us to see how we mentor them. Perhaps the question would be, are we mentoring them enough to ensure that we have many of them joining the STEM pathway? Are we giving them opportunities? And even when you look at finding opportunities, some of them are also skewed towards men, and which is, of course, that's a tragedy. So can we have specific funding models for women that they are able to access funding for them to be able to conduct their research? I think if we can be able to do that, we'll be able to promote inclusivity, we'll be able to have as more women as possible joining STEM, and therefore leveraging opportunities that the future offers us in terms of jobs in the AI space, in the innovation space, because they can also, as we've seen here, they can be able to provide solutions to the problems that we face as a country, as a region, as the world. And if you don't give them those opportunities at an early age, then you are failing ourselves. I think there's been a lot of focus on increasing enrollment at a lower level, but there's not much focus on ensuring that we're able to retain these women. And sorry, we can't run away from the issue of female or male, because we need to discuss this knowing that there are issues that need to be addressed. And for us to be able to address them, we need to know, are we addressing issues that are affecting male, or are we addressing issues that affect female? It's only then that we'll be able to proceed. But I think more importantly, we also need, in everything that we do, how can we be able to have gender segregated data that can be able to help us report on the impacts that we are making, on the progress that we are making as higher institutions of learning. And I'm happy that in this audience, Madam Speaker, we are talking to leaders who are leading these institutions, that they can be able to use those positions to ensure that really change, because these are areas of societal change, and they've been put in a position to be able to make a contribution and lead as institutions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
All right, thank you. I'd like to invite my panelists to give us their last remarks as we close this panel, and I'll begin on my extreme left. Your 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Chinua Achebe, in his book, Things Fall Apart, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, in his book, The River Between, and Professor Francis Mbuga, in his book, Aminata. They all revolve around partnership, collaboration, consultation, and teamwork. I would like to encourage us as leaders in the higher education landscape, please, we are not competing against each other. We are working for a common goal. We are working for Kenya Vision 2030. We are working for Africa Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. We are working towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So let us continue working together, collaborating, consulting, because we are not competing, but we are complementing our efforts. Thank you very much, and welcome to KCA University.
Yeah, for me, away from the debate now. Yeah, I'm here standing also as a woman in STEM, and I have to acknowledge there are still gaps. now away from the debate. Yeah, and maybe what I didn't say that I've just completed my PhD in food science, and I'm awaiting for graduation this coming November. And there have been challenges as a woman, and I have to acknowledge the initiatives made by NGOs who are supporting also the government to ensure to cover this gap of inclusivity. And also particular what you started with the Mawazo Institute, who also really came in for me to ensure that I'm able to also complete my PhD. I have to applaud also RISA, I think, I believe they also work with Mawazo Institute. And to say that I'm also an entrepreneur, as I said, and I'm working. I think this actually is the best time to say this, that I'm working towards commercializing my idea, whatever my research output. And we've been working in the cassava value chain, working on cassava value added products. We're also working with farmers because one of the challenge in Kenya when it comes to commercialization of cassava is the production. We are producing less than 1 million metric tons versus a demand of almost 3 million metric tons. So we are working with farmers with support from Mawazo to identify the gaps and also the challenges that farmers are going through so that we are going with the goal of increasing the cultivation and production of cassava in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As for me, the future is about leaving no one behind. And we have to go, all of us. We have to mentor. We have to be role models because everyone is looking at us to be the change makers. We also have to recognize and appreciate those that have made it, the likes of Professor Laila, the likes of Joyce Hagalo, the likes of Professor Ngumi, Professor Akuno, and all others, including even Professor Margaret Chesang, who have made it into this space. We need to appreciate them because they are making an impact. They are role models to other women, and other women are also looking forward to them. And I think more importantly, we also need to share, to amplify success stories. Women who've made impact. And I'm happy because this week, 2 things have happened. They nominated, through the UNESCO program, they nominated the best teacher in Africa. And that teacher is a woman, Madam Chemoyo from Emining High School. But I also think this week, we're also celebrating the best food prize in Africa for 2025, coming from Professor Mary Abukuta. That is a lady. So how can we be able to award, appreciate, and recognize the women who are making an impact in this space? But also, it's also a clarion call to our women. Let's go for opportunities. Let's be go-getters. And sometimes we connect a UNESCO laureate program, UNESCO laureate in women in science. Sometimes we don't have Kenyans applying for this opportunity. Yet, it's an opportunity for you to be rewarded for the many things that I've seen here that are happening in this space. So let's take advantage of some of these opportunities so that we are able to access some of these awards. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thanks the audience.
Thank you. I think to me, I still believe, and I'm happy that my sister is also trying to cross the floor and accepts that there is a problem with the STEM when it comes to especially enrollment. And I'm seeing the CEO of COOPS who is here with us, and she can actually attest that there is a problem when it comes to the females joining the STEM programs. But what I want to say here is that we need to have a deliberate attempt to mentor And not only the females, in fact, they're disadvantaged in our society because we're not just talking about the gender issue here, but there are many, many things that culturally gives others a disadvantage vis-a-vis the people. Like, for example, if I just have to talk about universities, Lamu, there's no university in Lamu there. There's no university in Kwale or institution of higher learning. And that is why Technical University of Mombasa did a deliberate policy to have a campus in Lamu and a campus in Kwale. And that's the only university which is in Kwale and in Lamu. All the others are just here in Mombasa, Nairobi, and they are coming to Mombasa. But none of them go to those places. Why? We want accessibility. Because how can you not talk about inclusivity or allowing them to get opportunities if they are not educated or if they don't have that access to higher education? So I still believe that there's a lot that we need to do. And it could be geographical also, cultural. And I still want to say again, yes, vice chancellors, whether you're a male or female, but it takes a lot of effort for a female to become a vice chancellor, considering that you have a family to take care of, and yet you also still go on and break those glass ceilings to become a vice chancellor. You have to take care of family, take care of your kids, take care of many other things. By the time that if it is a man, I mean, they've done their PhDs, you have also to take care of your children. When you are getting a scholarship, you have to think twice. Do I take care of my kids first, or do I first do my PhD? So those are some. So by the time they are able to do that, I think they need to be congratulated, and we need more of them.
I can't even summarize that any better. Please, please, please give a warm applause to the panel. And the message is, leave no one behind. May your institutions look like the face of our country. Thank you all very much, and have a good afternoon. Thank you.
We, sema we. All right. Last round of applause for these great debaters. All right. Prof. Laila, that was very passionate. I almost thought the debate was just getting started while you are even winding. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the close of our program, and we're now about to usher in the PS for Science, Research, and Innovation, together with Dr. Tonio Mwanza, to close this for us. In a few minutes, they will just be walking in. And as they do that, I want to make a few announcements. First is that we have some lost and found items here. I'm very sure this is Sonia's. She's going to pick it. She left it here in the podium. But I have a Type-C charger here, Samsung Type-C charger. So if you lost your Samsung Type-C charger, kindly come see me. I will confirm if your phone is a Samsung. Otherwise, if you're carrying your Infinix battery, please don't come to me. I have another item here. It's a Lenovo laptop charger. So if you've also misplaced your Lenovo laptop charger, kindly come see me so that you recover your item. And finally, I have, this looks like money, but it's an HP laptop charger. So if you've lost your HP laptop charger, kindly come see me and you'll recover it. Okay, I think that's all I have. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 1.5 days of Ceil Summit. For some of us, it's been an extra day, especially for those who participated in the pre-events that we held. That is basically the NIL Council meeting, the VCs training, the institutional working groups training, and also the TTO training through the Kenya Innovation Academy. And it wouldn't be fine just to go home without hearing from you in terms of what you want us to work on, how was your experience, are there specific things you want us to introduce in the new year, are there specific people that you want to see in the new year. For me, I have heard the word TVET, especially yesterday, mentioned more than 20 times. And I know the CEO already set context when he was giving his remarks that we are going to be very deliberate, like we have been with universities, to move into the TVET space. But let's gather your insights by submitting the feedback form. So a QR code should be up. I know by now, if your phone can't scan a QR code, you must be feeling terrible since we've had very many QR codes to scan. You have to bear with us. We are an innovation agency. We couldn't have papers moving around for your feedback and so forth. So thank you so much. The QR code should be up by now. And we hope that you will be very brutal and honest with what your experience has been like and what you want us to do in the coming year. So, just to give you highlights of what we are expected to see this afternoon as we wind up, we have been working with a group of educators from different institutions across the country, and they've been working through training on establishing TTO offices and actually ensuring they run optimally. And they've been through this program where they've gone through training, 2 module training. The first training was in Naivasha, and the second training was in Mombasa, right here just before we started Ceil Summit yesterday. So if I can just see by hands, how many of us are part of the TTO training cohort that will be graduating this afternoon? Mikono juu, mikono juu, mikono juu. Yeah, I almost felt like a politician saying mikono juu. Thank you. So there is also another group of great actually DVCs who've also been going through capacity building on ELTP for DVCs to see them implement what their vision bearers, that is the vice chancellors, who already gone through the program as well, and the DVCs are supposed to be implementing the same. So if we can also see by show of hand, the DVCs that expect to graduate this afternoon as well. Again, mikono juu, mikono juu. Thank you so much for accepting to walk the talk. And any moment from now, the CEO should be walking in together with PS Professor Shaukat Abdul Razak. But in the meantime, I want us to focus on the screens on my far left and on my far right. Please make sure you scan the QR code and share your feedback. And we'll be happy to use it to build up the next editions of Ceil Summit and all the other programs that we do at Ceil Summit. So, I'm going to see if any of us wants to, sorry? Wrong QR code. Sorry? That's for the photos. Okay. Please, let's update the QR code. Yeah. But you can still download the photos. But let's have the right QR code. Right. So that is going up right now. So, DJ, leo ni Friday, just try help us start connecting with the beach and the rest of the things we are about to do this afternoon. You can pick up from where we left last night during the cocktail. Right, thank you. And okay, no sooner had you no sooner had you dropped the heat than our PS for State Department for Science Research and Innovation walked in together with the CEO, Dr. Tonio Mwansa. So I think we'll do the rest once we're done. So for purposes of the rest of the delegates, please let's scan the QR code once it goes up, share our feedback so that we can build up on Ceil Summit for the next edition. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially starting our closing ceremony for the Ceil Summit 2025. And I would want to welcome again Professor Shaukat Abdelrazak, our PS for Science Research and Innovation. And thank you so much for according us time and the leadership during these 2 days and even the day earlier when we were doing our pre-events, and also Dr. Tonio Mwansa for the continuous leadership at KeNIA. So we expect this afternoon that we'll get to hear the resolutions of Ceil Summit 2025, look at what is going to be the focus for KeNIA for the next 1 year, even as we convene later on for Ceil Summit sometime next year. We'll hear the dates and we'll be getting this from CEO. So at this point, I would like to invite the CEO, Dr. Tonio Mwansa, to officially facilitate this session, bring this to a close, and I'm sure we are all eager to hear the resolutions for Ceil Summit 2025. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to stage Dr. Tonio Mwansa.
PS, many vice chancellors still in the room, range of CEOs I'm seeing, senior faculty members, researchers, students that I just saw as well, partners in the room. It's great that after we started 2.5 days ago, we still have the energy to hang in there because it is a very relevant topic for all of us. What I'm going to do is just give a snapshot. Every time we close, we try to make a reflection of what has come out, what are the key highlights of some of the things we can focus on in coordinating, so that a year down the road we can look back and say, yes, we are actually making progress. Now, we can't fix everything, but I think we've got to prioritize some things that we definitely have to tackle. And at the same time, some of the issues we can try to champion with the efforts and capacities that we have. And some of the things we have to champion them either as partners or as institution leaders or individuals, because it's ecosystem thinking. One of the greatest challenges we have as an innovation agency is I discovered that every problem is my problem. If the student doesn't experience the teaching that prepares them to be an innovator, then it is my problem. Then I have to intervene at that level. If, for example, we are having a challenge with private sector participation in our innovation agenda, then it becomes our problem because we can't succeed with the innovation agenda without the scaling potential and capacity of private sector. A little while in the morning, we're having some reflection of how do we intentionally bring, for example, private sector into these conversations, because scaling of innovation is going to require that kind of partnership, and so on and so forth. So in a nutshell, this is some of the thoughts. This is not comprehensive, but these are some of the thoughts that we picked at a high level of some of the things we're going to work together on going forward. If I got my clicker, then I would know how to point, but okay, thank you. All right. Thank you very much. The first one is around NIL and if you can project it at the center, it might be a lot more clear, please. NIL is one of those things that we found as a very good vehicle where institutions are engaging, the leaders are engaging together, co-creating, pursuing, and driving specific agenda items. Professor Hutchinson made a passionate appeal yesterday of why that kind of private sector approach is going to help us. Because if we say we're mobilizing resources in the context of the NEIL fund, we can't put it in Kenya. It just has to be some kind of specific vehicle. So the sustainability and scaling of NEIL is super important. In my view, it comes top in the list because we have to have that national coordination with the vice chancellors leading. The council met 2 days ago and reflected on a range of new programs that will support vice chancellors, deputy vice chancellors, faculty, and students. And they endorsed a number of those interventions that we're going to support. There's a secretariat already in place. We're thinking how to sustain that in a little while. And so NEIL will be a vehicle for as many of our institutions to benefit. So we can see more of the stories that we have heard from students, more stories we've heard from faculty. Within that framework of NEIL, we want to sustain the secretariat. And we need to give them a runway. Currently, they've got a runway up to December. So we want to find a way to scale that for the next 3 or so years. So a team is committed to work on these various interventions under the umbrella of NEIL. And thirdly is, as Professor Hutchinson mentioned, we're opening up in a very structured way to admit more members into NEIL. Now, structured and rigorous. The point is, the dedication I am seeing in the vice chancellors who are seated here demonstrates that it's about what you put into a network that really makes it meaningful. It's not what you get out of it. So you've got to come in and you've got to demonstrate the commitment, not just by being there, but also the value that you bring into that network. So NEIL is on the run, and we hope, probably by the time we regroup here, we'll be talking about 40, 50 institutions that are part and parcel of NEIL, adding value, building partnerships, and so on and so forth. Secondly is a fund. We spoke about that. Under that NEIL framework, we see a huge opportunity. We've got a consultant now who is helping us to design, and we're going to do a lot of engagements on how to best structure that fund. We've got a number of institutions that are willing to support in terms of capitalization of the fund. And within that fund, we are seeing ourselves build a range of instruments that support students, that support early stage researchers, that support scaling of innovations like the ones we saw the last 1.5 days. NEIL. Secondly, is we've worked on R2C. Now, probably a few of you have sensed what we are trying to do. When we designed the R2C accelerator, it was not to mean that KeNIA was trying to become an accelerator. No, we were here trying to demonstrate how we could effectively commercialize research-based startups. And our aspiration then is to move this more and more into institutional level. I visited University of Embu a little while ago, and they told me now they are launching their own R2C program in a structured, systematic way, scouting and nurturing and scaling ventures. Of course, we're going to support one another, and that's not to say that they just run on their own. And our aspiration is to see more institutions activate that in their own rights. There will be different designs here and there and differences, and that's fine, but we will be available to support as much of localization as possible. We have, of course, initiated the work around strengthening TTOs in institutions. Capacity building going on. We've identified individuals because technology transfer has to be managed within the institutional level. And so operationalizing that is definitely something we'll continue to do. And we would like to see more ventures pitching at the Ceil Summit in the future. It's not so much about me speaking or somebody else speaking, but when the ventures speak, the story is even more powerful. Now, we also have an agenda on students, and students were here, and I could see the body language of many people saying, that's really nice, that's really beautiful. Because that's what you show after all the leadership that you've done. When we are more and more student-centered, then that's the glory at the end of the day. As we talk about the ventures from faculty, we should talk about the student ventures. And yesterday, we activated the student innovation clubs in a slightly formal way. We'll be intention over the next couple of months to visit as many of the institutions as possible and help think through that system. How do we make it even more stable, sustainable, and scalable, better run, better visible, and so on and so forth. And then gradually see how we can expand the the clubs into as many institutions as possible so that there is better support for our students. The Council of NEIL yesterday resolved that we will activate student innovation challenges. And we are visualizing how that could be so that members of NIL have an opportunity to have students compete. And ultimately, by the time you gather at Ceil Summit, you are going to pitch. We're going to say, this is my venture, and I am looking for this kind of money from the NIL Fund and others. And that becomes our point of celebration. And there are many other ways that we can also play to make sure students receive as much attention as possible. And so we expect more students. On the next slide, which is my last one in the context of some of the resolutions, the next one is the TTO as a service. Now, we are persuaded that we demonstrated over the last 1 year how you would structure a TTO to support ventures. Because it takes a village to build a child, to raise a child, and so does it take to build a venture. So we had a team of about 8 or so people supporting the actual ventures. And there was evidence of the growth that we could see. So the issue is now sustaining it and scaling. And some of the aspirations we have, we've already started having conversations about how do you sustain this group of ventures so that then there's a bigger story to tell. We need a few great stories, then we demonstrate the power of commercialization. And then secondly, within that context is we are already in conversations with a few partners about how to design a 3-year plan on that TTO as a service so that it has a runway long enough to take more ventures, all right, and support them in a systematic way. So maybe 5 or so every 6 months or something along those lines. The institutional commercialization support will never end. It's a continuous initiative. Fine, we have 14 innovation master plans, and we're looking to expand that to 25. And our aspiration is we mainstream the maturity framework so that then we can measure our progress at institutional level. And hopefully, because I have had requests about why was I not included? And that question will always be there. Every university wants to find its space in the conversation. Hopefully, we will have the capacity to add a few more institutions into the system, but you are going to help us mainstream the maturity framework, and that way we measure the progress that we make. The last thing that I picked, or at least a few of us also came to me about, is intellectual property management. And I'm completely persuaded, having spent a little bit of time in the universities and research centers, the issue is not availability of intellectual property, it's the management of the same. And that starts with identification, protection, exploitation, and so on and so forth. We've designed an IP management excellence program where we want to pilot with a number of institutions just to ensure you think, as an institutional leader, you think comprehensively about how IP is being managed for our own success into the future. So my prayer is that we will work together towards this transformation. There is an issue of TVETs, no question. We already kind of started a couple of months ago to do some engagements with TVETs. There will be a few visitations, a few consultations, and hopefully by the time we're at Ceil Summit 2026, there will be a track specifically for TVET agenda. And then we'll curate it in a manner. I can see some people clapping right there in the background. So yes, the voice has been heard. Then private sector involvement, no question. But I always say, you always have to frame it in the context of what is the value proposition? What is in it for them? I don't have the entire answer to this, and this is why consultations are important, so that as we say we want to work more and more with private sector, you're also tabling what the carrot is. And you know what private sector wants, bottom line, and so you've got to position yourself for that bottom line. And we hope that as we go into 2026, we'll have a lot more private sector participation as we scale our value and create a strong ecosystem. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, CEO, for that and for setting the pace for what is going to be the journey towards Ceil Summit 2026. So we want to move into the interesting part of our afternoon program, the closing ceremony, which involves 2 graduations. And I want to start with the graduation of the Innovation Academy cohort that has been working towards building capacity on technology transfer offices. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a cohort of 30 plus. It's a lot of you, which is good. So I will kindly request that when I read your name, just come to stage, get your certificate, and line up here for a group photo with our peers. So let me start with Dr. Karen Otieno. Kindly come to stage very quickly. Makofi, Dr. Karen. Professor George Owor, makofi ya Professor George, my namesake. Makofi ya Dr. Joseph Momanyi, very quickly, thank you so much. Makofi ya Professor Peter Kibas, thank you, thank you, thank you. Makofi ya Professor Levi Mbugua, thank you so much. Makofi ya Professor Franklin Waboba, thank you, thank you. Makofi ya Professor Richard Kiai. Let's clap for Professor Richard Kiai as he comes to stage. Let's clap for Miss Rose Ogata as she comes to stage. Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Emmanuel P. Condoltioni. Hey, such a long name. Makofi ya Dr. Emmanuel, thank you. We have Dr. Caroline Gatobu. Let's clap for Dr. Caroline Gatobu. We can do 2 lines here in case to jai. Makofi ya Mr. Duncan Masharia. Thank you for coming to stage. Next we have Mr. Keitani Jamaldin. Let's clap for Mr. Jamaldin. Next on stage we have Dr. Billy Wadongo. Let's clap for Dr. Billy Wadongo. Professor Benson Ojuang, thank you. Next we have Mr. Boniface Jiveri. Let's clap for Mr. Boniface Jiveri. Makofi ya Kennedy Waweru. Thank you, thank you. Let's clap for Dr. Isaac Nyamongo. Thank you. Miss Hilda Kawira. Let's clap for Miss Hilda Kawira. Thank you. Mr. Benson Wangombe. Thank you. Dr. Danson Mwangi. Miss Phyllis Nduva. Thank you. Dr. Benson Mutuku. Dr. Fidelis Ngugi. Maureen Ndagara, thank you. Let's clap for Martin Omar as he comes to stage. We can do a second line just below here. Tunajua tuko wengi. The more the merrier, which is a beautiful thing. We hope the TTO work is going to continue in your institutions. We have Martin Omar, thank you for coming to the stage. Photographers, tafadhali tusaidie kutengeneza hii group photo. Then we have Dr. Philip Nyawere. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dr. Jared Ombiro. Dr. Flora Mapinga. Let's clap for Dr. Flora. Thank you. We have Dr. Kennedy Ongaro. Dr. Kennedy Ongaro. Makofi, Dr. Kennedy Ongaro. Professor Wanja Mwaura. Thank you, thank you. And finally, Dorothy Ochieng. Dorothy Ochieng. Right. So thank you for coming to the stage. Some of us might have left, but PS, for information, we had a team of around 30 plus, 33 in context, that were going through this 2-part training through the KeNIA Innovation Academy on how to actually make their TTO offices work at the institutions. So they will first take their own photo, then Dr. Tonio Mwanza and PS Professor Shaukat, you will join them at the center for the group photo. Yes, thank you. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Professor Shaukat PS, I'll kindly request that you remain on stage as we also graduate the next team of graduates this afternoon. And Prof, these are the DVCs who are going to champion the work of their vision carriers, the vice chancellors. And we have 7 of them with us right here. In absentia, we have the rest, but we'll just acknowledge them. In the meantime, PS, you will help us with handing over the certificates to these DVCs who are making a commitment to continue the work that is being championed by the vice chancellors. So it is my honor to welcome to stage Professor Vincent Onywera, who is the DVC from KeNIA University. Thank you, Prof. Makofi ya Professor jamani. Then there is Professor Elijah Ateka from JUST. Makofi ya Professor Elijah. Thank you, thank you. Let's take the far corner. After getting your certificate, we'll do a group photo eventually. Then we have Professor Harrison Maithia from Southeastern Kenya University, Seku. Makofi ya Professor Harrison tafadhali. Thank you. Then we have Professor Eddie Owaga, DVC from Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. Makofi ya Professor Eddie tafadhali. Thank you. Then next in line we have Professor Bernard Aduda, DVC at Egerton University. Let's clap for Professor Aduda tafadhali. Asante sana. Then we have Professor Simon Duranira, all the way from Meru University. Let's clap for Prof. Simon. Thank you. Thank you. And then we have Professor, sorry. Yeah. We have Professor Wanja Tenambagan. I love that second name. DVC at Riara University. So Professor Wanja, tafadhali. Thank you. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we'll take the group photo. Please, let's take the group photo very quickly. In absentia, we have Professor Samuel Murithi, who will be doing the work at Daystar University. We have Professor Maurice Oduor from University of Kabianga, Professor Francis Gishuhi from Masai Mara. We also have Professor Nicole Ntabo from Rongo University and Professor Paul Kathanio from University of Embu, and Professor Haemba Ongeti from Moi University. So let's clap for them in absentia, tafadhali. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now I welcome Dr. Tony Omwansa to officially pick it up from here. Thank you. Yeah.
Every great thing that starts has an end, and this is the opportunity to have our PS for Science, Research and Innovation at the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary to give closing remarks and officially close the event. Karibu PS.
Thank you very much, Tony. Good afternoon, friends and colleagues. I'm going to be very, very brief. A is Friday. B, you need to go for lunch. And C, I know the people who are going to travel probably today. First and foremost, let me take this opportunity really to appreciate all the work that is being done in our institutions of higher learning, universities as well. Since I got into this space and having attended several of these meetings, including the one in Serena, I really I have observed and appreciated the leadership that is being provided in terms of governance, in terms of transformation, in terms of looking into that space of the commercialization and looking at innovation, so to speak. So really want to commend and congratulate all the vice chancellors who are present here. So thank you very much. Secondly is, again, having been part and parcel of this ecosystem, if I may say that, looking at where we are coming from and where we are going, I think there is that enthusiasm, there is that zeal, there is that commitment towards commercialization of the research that is happening in our institutions. And again, I really want to appreciate that because when I reported to this office, I quickly had an opportunity to go to the Startups Festival. I also went to the multi-sectoral conference by Nakosti, and the latest one was the research festival at Edgerton University by National Research Fund. And during those meetings, I could definitely see there is a change. There's a change in the way we think. There is a change in the way we present our cases. And we have so many of these examples that, we are able to put on the table. The third part is really to look at the students that we're having today. And I, being myself, I have really witnessed since I've arrived, I got some of the students that we supported before reaching out to me, the students that are in this hall today, really wanting to make a contribution. And we are talking about almost 65% of the population. And we definitely must be able to continue mentoring them. We must be able to continue providing that support that they need so that they can be able to bring the creativity, the talent, the zeal, the energy that they have so that we can be able to immensely contribute into this space of technology, science, and innovation for the benefit of our society. So I really want to thank all the students that are present in this hall, and if you don't mind, please give them a round of applause. But having said all that, look, we had our boss here yesterday, challenging me, challenging us together. We have so much that we've been able to do in our midst that we must be able to show these tangible results. And, we keep on talking about doing research that is gathering dust on the shelf, that we have innovation, that we get so excited when we have the fairs, and that's it, it stops there. So I really want to encourage us so that we can show these tangible results of our research, our innovation. As the head of public service said, that people don't see the research findings. And that's why they'll be able to say, why don't we invest in the road that we can be able to see where it is going, or invest in medicines or in the hospitals that people can be able to go and get treated. But yet there is a lot that we've been able to do. You have been able to do this. So I really want to encourage you to stand up, be tall enough, show what you've been able to do, build synergies and collaboration among yourselves so that we can be able to have a larger, bigger voice, if you want, if I may say so. Because it's very important that we show the work that we've been able to do over time. It is very important that we also come along. I think we've been challenged. Yesterday, we were challenged, and I know quite a number of intellectuals and professors. We are very shy sometimes, that we don't speak loud enough in terms of looking for support. So I want to tell you that I want to take this leadership and come along with me. Help me to help you by raising your voices and ask for further and more support. Let's be on the table and not be on the menu. It's very important that we can be able to continue doing that. And we're very lucky. We have partners with us. And I like this approach that we're working together. We are moving together. And many thanks to all the partners that have been able to make this possible, not just at KeNIA, but Nakosti, at NRF as well, and other entities in government. I mean, it's all about collective responsibility. So we must make sure that we can be able to move forward together in this space. We need to leverage in terms of thinking. The reason why we have partners in the room is not just to give us the financial support, but also the ideas. And we need to look at that strategic thinking and be able to borrow a leaf. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. I just came back from Denmark, and what I saw, and I'm giving this example, I'm going to Vienna tomorrow. I might be able to give more example. I'll be going to the UK. I want to give more example. People have done a lot of these things that we are talking about. All right. So let's see how we can leverage on those opportunities. Strategic thinking. Yesterday we were reminded we need to think outside the box, and where possible, we create a new box. It is very possible that we need to do that. So I really want to express my appreciation to the partners around here. Vice Chancellors, I don't need to tell you. I just want to remind you. The fact that you're a Vice Chancellor of a university by itself, it shows that you're already a leader. But I want you to be a transformational leader. I want you to be a visionary leader. We need to think beyond our tenure in the university. If you have 5 or 10 years, what will be your legacy? And I think this is an excellent example that Tony, and many thanks, that has provided to us. It's a platform that if you can be able to grasp it, understand it, and run with it, I can tell you will leave a huge legacy in your institution. So we've launched the student hubs. Please support them. We have many clubs in the universities. This is one of the clubs that I think, in my opinion, should be really in the front line. Because if you want to transform a country, if you want to change the society, we must be able to embrace science, technology, and innovation. We must be able to have that entrepreneurial mind that we can be able to get ideas to prototype towards commercialization. The days of publish or perish are gone. The days that we need to be promoted because you have just published 1 or 2 or 10 papers are gone. Whatever we do, we must be able to ask ourselves, how does this product take us to the next level? So Vice Chancellors who are present here, many things, really exciting moment that we see Deputy Vice Chancellors graduating here. The only problem is you do not have the gowns. I hope, Tony, in future, maybe we can have a better ceremony in terms of the graduation. I was expecting vehicles outside there to see people coming and really celebrating that Deputy Vice Chancellors and the TTOs are graduating, because, I mean, I'm so touched to see that you guys can take time to sit in class. I always ask Tony, how do you manage bringing Vice Chancellors to get into training? But the fact that you have accepted to go into that because you want to take the leadership, you want to understand as the Deputy Vice Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor, how are these TTOs going to work? How are they going to perform? How are the student clubs? So please take a little bit of more time, do the mentorship, do the encouragement. And this is all about innovation. Try, fail, wake up, and move again and again and again until we get the desired results that we want to change this country. Researchers and innovators, again, I just want to remind you, the fact that you're a researcher, you want to resolve a solution, you want to resolve a challenge of the society. We must be able to ask, what are these? And the beauty of this government, we already have the bottom-up economic transformative agenda with 5 pillars. If you look at these 5 pillars, actually they resonate very well with the societal challenges. You're looking at food security, agriculture, you're looking at MSMEs, you're looking at housing, you're looking at health, you're looking at digital super economy. What else have we left out? Now we come in and ask ourselves, what are some of the research findings that we need to work on that space and be able to address the challenges of the society? We must be able to transform. So I think this is an excellent platform that we've been able to develop. I want to assure you, if there are any policies that will be required to be able to jumpstart this and be able to move forward together, I am more than happy, I'm more than willing, I'm always available to work with you. You've heard about commercialization policy. You have heard about startup bill that we're working on. We are also now, we finalize science, technology, and innovation policy. We are now working on the biosecurity policy, just to give you a glimpse on what we are doing, what is on the table. We are also looking at the Atomic Energy Agency. We've been working very closely on the space science and so on and so forth. In all this, including the TVET that we have, how can we be able to do the socialization of science? How can we enhance the communication of science? And how can we have the maximum input? Because it's a chicken and an egg. Yeah? You might go and ask for more resources, and the policy makers, the parliamentarians, and so on and so forth will always be asking what is there for you to show so that you can be given more. So that's why I say, please help me to help you by speaking loud, by showing what you have done. And I want to assure you, we are going to continue creating these platforms, this opportunity. This is a journey that started several years ago. The culmination of this will be next year. We are planning to have Science, Technology for Society Week in Nairobi, just to bring the innovations, just to bring the technology, university, academia, industries, secondary school, primary, and so on and so forth. Everybody has got to come and see the good things that we're doing internally and our partners externally as well. And we're going to have so many forums. So partners, if I come to you again, what you've been able to do for us, please, I'm really appealing that you can be able to continue helping in that space, because I believe there's a lot of great things that Kenya have done. We have some of the best minds, I can tell you, having served at the UN myself with 50 countries in Africa. I know what I'm talking about. The only thing is this, let's leapfrog. The world is not about to slow down because we are where we are. We must leapfrog to catch up, and the only way to do it is through science, technology, and innovation. You need to give me a clap. And after that, it is really my duty to officially close this gathering, this summit of 2025. Thank you very much, and God bless. God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much, Piers. So, ladies and gentlemen, no additional words. We proceed for lunch, and we exit and leave the venue at whatever time we want to leave. You will get your meal vouchers as you exit from that door that is on my far left. Lunch will be served at the Expo Center, same place as yesterday. Wishing you safe journey masses and a great year ahead as we look forward to doing what we've already set out to do. And see you again at Ceil Summit 2026. Bye-bye.